Hello! Anybody who's watching? Doing a bit of a stream. Talk about the update. Just want to make sure I'm live. And then we'll get through a few games. I thought I didn't have bot Ricks. Oh well, it's joined, so long as it doesn't mess anything up. There was a program which I could use. I thought I opted to not have it anymore. Anyway, not the end of the world. Can people hear me? Everything working? I think it should be. Yeah? That seems to be working. Right, let's go over it. Anyway. Oh, sorry, that's my microphone. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the update, which has recently happened. There's been a lot of stuff that I know the game has gone through personally. Awesome, thank you, Rhythm. That's all good to hear. Game's gone through, I guess, a bit of a troubling time, in my personal opinion, in the fact that there's been a lot of factions which I would say got buffs, then got new cards, and now have got nerfs, and we seem to keep on going through that cycle. GSC got it, then Imperial Guard got it, and then Orcs got it, and then Emperor's Children recently been released. All I want to say, everyone, with these new buffs to particularly Ultramarines, don't be surprised if that same cycle happens again. Although, individually, as a whole, I think this update has been good. That's my personal takeaway. They've hit some crucial stuff. They didn't get perfect. They never do. But they hit some crucial stuff. They've buffed Ultramarines something so that they're playable. Maybe they're a bit too strong and they need some minor nerfs, but... Hello, how you doing? How you doing, Matthew? Hope you're well. But yes, they've hit some key stuff. And whatnot. So yeah, game's personally in a pretty good state, although I'm biased because I play Ultramarines a lot. So if Ultramarines are doing well, of course I'm not gonna be happy with the game. It's one of those things, isn't it? It can't be helped. Anyway, let's get into some of the important changes. Now, Lucius. If we go to the actual over here, go to factions, blah blah, go through all this stuff, Emperor's Children, cards I don't have. Lucius. This 4/1 energy within itself isn't broken at all for 4/1 energy. They've increased it to 2 energy, and that's basically because stimulation triggers really well with it. 1 energy heal 1 is a perfectly fine ability, and that's not broken at all. In fact, that's not even particularly good. Even so, making it 2 energy heal 1. The problem is because this targets Lucius and then stimulation is going to trigger, it ends up being heal 1 and deal 1 damage. So Lucius did need some kind of nerf. It was always going to happen. And there's other cards in here as well. Because Emperor's Children is a weird faction. They've got certain cards which are absolutely broken, and then certain cards which are actually really weak. And I'm glad they've recognized that. And Lucius was definitely one of them. Personally, I would have tried to do something about stimulation itself. And then that could solve some other problems with like this card, which we're going to get to, which also got nerfed. But yes, it was probably a necessary change, although I know people don't like it. I know people say that this change, making it 2 energy, isn't a good one, and they felt like they were getting day 1 nerfed Lucius the Eternal, which isn't fun. But otherwise, yeah, it was probably good. What's this? Oh yes, that was the 2 energy drop. The problem with this guy is kind of the same thing. If you're able to get all those stimulants going, so you have like Quicksilver, which is still really useful, this one as well, and I guess some of, well, where's the 2 energy drop, which generates them? Some of these. If you're able to get them going, this guy used to be able to become such a big problem. It was like, you just get 3 stimulants for 0 energy, and you place it all into this one guy, and then it used to give +1 life. Instead of healing, so it gets heal 1 instead of increasing its life. So it used to now be, do that 3 times, you now have a 5/6. That was a bit crazy for a 2 energy drop. A bit broken, I'm not gonna lie. I would have probably changed, instead of health, I would have probably kept health and then changed so it doesn't gain like range attack or something, and only melee. In which case it has a weakness, but then it still becomes a really big threat with a lot of life and can do a lot of damage. Or maybe just only range and not melee. Whatever it needs to be, right? But now they've kind of nerfed it, which is, it's not useless, because the main purpose of it is that Emperor's Children suffer from a lot of good flank troops, I'd say. Not good flank troops. All the flank troops do melee. So you've got these, and you've got, where's the 4 energy drop? Which is flank as well. This one as well. They're all melee based. So it still serves a role with Quicksilver Grace, in the fact that it's able to get a range attacker coming in. But outside of that, I don't think it's particularly great. And I think you can use other guys instead if you really wanted to use that. One guy you could use is this guy, who actually stuns the troop attacked, so it's guaranteed to do it. And it also gives a minus, and it does 4 range. The other one I would be looking at is this guy as well. But he does synergize it as well, and he's cheap. So he does serve a purpose. So yeah, those were... I will admit, both of those cards, and Lucius and the Glittering Myriad Infractor, were both causing problems and were not fun to play against. There is one other card which they haven't touched in Emperor's Children, which I felt like they should have. I'm not gonna lie, and it's the Fracture Obsessionist. It's an absolutely brilliant card, and it's a little bit crazy. The main problem with it, I find, is just stimulation again. The fact that it gains shield. It's absurd. The fact its problem is just like, for example, you point blank shot it and it gains a shield against the point blank shot, or you do whatever, right? It's going to trigger off the opponent's stratagems, so it keeps on gaining shield every single time you do, so effectively you can't kill this guy with stratagems outside of like a hard removal or something. I think that's probably a bit much for its stats and everything, but otherwise that's the only thing where I think where they went wrong with Emperor's Children. And then I think all of these are buffs, right? Oh no, one other guy got nerfed, didn't he? It's the legendary. This guy. I think he could have kept his health, but I think changing the stimulation so it attacks the enemy with the highest attack instead of just completely random just means that it's not just absurd and unfun, because sometimes it can hit your face twice or 3 times in a row and you have like 2 other units, and it's like, seriously, could have not hit the one of the other units first and died straight away. But no, it didn't do that. It hits your face 3 times in a row, and it is random because it can hit the other guy. I've seen it happen, but I've also seen it hit your face 3 times. And it can end up doing, with the cruelty particularly as well, it can end up, and the stimulation, it can end up just doing like 20 damage to face out of nowhere, and you're dead. Kind of crazy. But, yes. They've changed that now, so it attacks the guy who's highest, and I think that's a good thing. And then all these are buffs, which are to things which... Like, there's still cards in the Emperor's Children, which I still think aren't great. But all these changes are good. Main Warlord, the other Warlord now being buffed. He's probably the most powerful Warlord now, funnily enough. He now has a 1 energy ability. Because if you shoot your own self with it, well, it's actually damaging yourself. So there's actually a downside if you want to trigger stimulation like that. Don't recommend it, but if you decide to do that, that it's in like an emergency, you can. Main thing though is there's no create you combat elixirs for 1 energy. It's actually just affordable, and then you can start getting a whole stimulation package going, which is lots of fun. And I would like to try it when I get a decent collection of Emperor's Children. Where are we? Terminator Champion. Oh yeah, this guy. Don't know why this guy got buff. I won't lie. I think this guy's brilliant. Where is he? I've used him in like draft mode and stuff. I think he's really, really bloody good. These are brilliant stats, by the way. Armor 1, so you can reduce all that damage, and now you get that good attack value and whatnot. Yeah, absolutely absurd in my opinion. And just a cruelty to increase in stats. I mean, like, he was fine as he was, but hey ho, it's not like a game-changing buff or anything. He's still gonna do the same thing. He still does the job. It's not oppressive at all. Lord Exultant, increased health from 7 to 8. Where is he? Oh yeah, this guy was pretty bad before, so it's nice to see a little buff for him, so he's more survivable. Is he basically the same? I would be honest, he pretty much is. The main way to use this guy, if you have like a whole bunch of little guys, maybe you've used a, where is it? Carnival of Excess, or you're going for a lot of... Where's the 400 drop? There's a 400 drop, which is useful. Vengeful Surge. Basically, you put down a whole bunch of little guys, and then you stimulate this guy a whole bunch, giving them a whole bunch of attack stats, and then you can kill your opponent with it. That's the main purpose for this guy, personally. Outside of that, he doesn't really do much, so this, I don't think, has really changed anything, if I had to be honest. So that's that guy. Lord Cacophonous, increased melee attack and blah blah. Basically, there's a problem with this guy, and they've just gone along and increased his stats instead of changing what he does ever so slightly. I kind of get it. And the reason why I kind of get it is because he could become oppressive if they made his ability any more powerful. Because it gives -2 to everything. So if you got 4 stimulants, then you're able to give -4 to the entire board. Like, the opponent's troops, the opponent itself. Because all the base attacks, everybody has 2 attacks. So you're able to just, with your Warlord, attack them for 2 damage every single turn with this guy if you got 2 stimulants every turn. The thing is, I think that's just too many stimulants to guarantee this sort of effect to keep it going. You only need to get like 1 turn out of giving everything -4. And then outside that 1 turn, you just had kind of a pretty bad body for 6-7 energy. So they've just made it a better body, so it's actually just average stats. But yeah, it doesn't really solve its problem in the fact that it's trying to control board by making all the opponent's troops just not have attack values, which I don't think really fixes the problem, if I had to be honest. But it's nice to have a buff. Means he's not useless, in my opinion. He might be worthwhile. And then Helldrake. Gosh darn. This guy used to do 2 to 3 damage, and I can tell you from using the Redemptor Dreadnought, seeing it only do 2 damage to the opponent's troop when they want it to actually clear the board is always depressing. It's not a great unit, and it's still not a great unit, even though it recently got a buff. This actually just doing 3 damage to every single troop. Like, it could do 3 damage to all troops instead of all enemies. And that would be better than it doing 2 to 3 to all enemies. Because it actually does the job that you want it to do, which is actually just clear the board. Because everything these days, if they're spamming the board with a whole bunch of little troops, they're spamming it with like 3 health troops. They're not going to be spamming it with 2 health troops. That just doesn't really happen. So yeah, Helldrake actually does, well, the job you want it to. Is actually clear board. It's crazy now. It's actually, dare I say, a good card. But yes, those are my opinions of Emperor's Children. Overall, I think it's a bit of a shame about the Lucius and his talent ability and stuff. I think there was better ways to approach it, but I think these 2 cards were absolutely necessary. So that the Warlord just wasn't oppressive all the time. That's what I think. Good changes. So we've got Goth Orcs now. And, well, it's not Goth Orcs. They're just Orcs, aren't they? Whatever. The Run Herd. Yeah, cost reduction was always stupid. How could we tell? No way. Oh my god, it creating a whole bunch of things in your hand and reducing the cost ended up being way too great for value-wise. Who could have known? Cost reduction was OP. Oh no. This was a long time coming. It's always funny to me because they always do this. I've seen it in the other games as well. They make cost reduction cards and then they have to remove it later because it's too strong. It's always the case. It's never not the case. It's like how could they not have figured this out? Like, it doesn't take a numpty. But yeah, it's a good nerf. It means that its card is not broken. It's just a good card now. And this because it generates so much value. Or like all the time in those aggro go wide decks. It just will see decks. It just won't see in every single deck all the time. So yeah. Good change, personally. What Snagger? This is one of the changes which are bad, to be honest. It didn't need a nerf. I think it was fine as it is. Maybe if it just got changed to deploy a grot instead of snakebite grot, or you know, doing the random either or, that's fine by me, if I had to be honest. But the health decreased. It's got terrible stats now. That's the problem. Like, terrible in the fact that it's not done even live and do its job. So where is he? I don't have him, but I've never found him to be a problem. I mean, like, he used to have 4 life. He was still very much killable then. Now I can just kill it with a Reaver. And like, I'm trading a 2 energy unit. Where's my Reaver? Here it is. I'm trading a 2 energy unit into their 4 energy. I don't know why it got nerfed. I understand why. They were trying to target particularly other cards from the Orcs. And trying to make other cards, but this is not the solution in my opinion. It doesn't really achieve the objective. You just, now they have to rely on those other cards more and more so, and they don't have support around it. And now if they actually, when they actually deal with the problem, well, now everything ends up being weak, so it's not great. He didn't need enough. Green Horde. Increased cost from 4 to 5. Absolutely a necessary change. It was just way too reliable as it is. Is it still a good card? Yeah, absolutely. Here's the problem with Green Horde. You only used it when you have like 3 troops in your hand with tied 1 and cost 2 or less. So, you know, where are these buggers? Slugger Boy, Storm Boy, Front Gun, Orc Boy, whatever. You only used it with all these cards. You didn't use it in any other place. You know, Makari, the Grots. So you could just spam the board. There was this is because they added so many units now, which cost 2 or less, with like a tied ability, so you're able to get 2 copies of them. It was just crazy when you did it on a 4-drop. 4 energy, and they just green horde and they overwhelm the board. Now at least, the difference is now is that at least the opponent's able to deal with it better. And what I mean by that is, if they got lucky on a 4 energy, well, there's only like 2 factions which could actually properly deal with that. And that was, the first one was, where's Eldar? Eldar with their Eldritch Storm, because it is 1 to 3 and you're able to repeat it. If everything's got 3 life, on average you're gonna kill every single unit, and if in doubt, if there's one unit that's still alive, you can just shoot it and just finish him off. The other one was Sisters, and that's because they've got Spirit of the Martyr. They're like the only factions in the game which could actually deal with it at that point. All the other factions would have left too much behind for whatever they don't use. If you're Ultramarines, Storm Raven's your best one. Every single unit lives, unless it's like a Grot army, which is very, very rare. But yeah, you couldn't do it with Ultramarines. You couldn't really do it with Guard. Like, Guard now you can, and there's only one Warlord which can do it. Hold on. And that's Denkler, because he is able to give flank, and the key guy is the Flamer Trooper, dealing 2 to 3 damage on the board. And even that's not like 100% guaranteed. There might just be still too much stuff left on the field. But at least he can actually deal with it. What else? Who else can actually deal with this board? Emperor Children can, because of their legendary card, but then that's not too great. Where is it? It's not this one, although that does deal with it. It's this. Doing damage, like 3 damage to the entire board, unless you do it. Lucius, which you do 4 damage to the entire board. But basically that's a requirement. But yeah, now a lot more factions are actually able to deal with it properly. If you're lucky and you go first as Tyranids, you can get Ravenous Hunger off on that sort of board, because it's a 5 energy, so they have their 5 energy, you have your 6, and you're able to actually damage the entire board, sort of thing. If you're Ultramarines now, of course, Uriel's recently got a buff, so he's actually able to deal with it. 5 energy play, at least 3 of them. But with Titus, you might able to go Blast and then also Storm Raven on a 6 energy play, so you can sort of better deal with it. It's not really that reliable, but you can. So yeah. Is this card still going to receive nerfs? I mean, fundamentally as it stands, they might have to. Because it just... It might have to. I mean, like, what I would liked... Let me explain. What I would have preferred to see is actually just decrease the first 4 troops and decrease their cost, and all the other troops didn't get decreased in cost. And that's why you don't have like a oppressive thing where you're able to get, if they get like, let's say, just 4 Storm Boys of victory, effectively the entire board, they're able to spam the entire board with 2 drops troops all the time. Like all 8 slots with 2 drop troops. So yeah, Green Horde, that's what I preferred, so that they only get 4 troops and not just 8, and it actually becomes manageable at that point. But I think I would have decreased it back down to 3 again if I did that. And I think that would have been fair. So it's just not as oppressive, you see. Because it still kind of does the job, and if they do get that scenario, and they do get on 5, I mean, unless you're one of the factions which can deal with it properly, and you just clear the board, they've got you. They're gonna win at that point. With that many guys. And now, finally, Gretchen Mob. Yeah, Gretchen Mob as a 4NG card, I don't know why they nerfed it. Well, I do know why they nerfed it. They're trying to nerf go wide, but it doesn't really solve the problem. Deploy 3 Grots and give them Vanguard, making it 4 cost. I just don't think it's... It might be still worth it if you need to, but I don't think it's really that great. Nah, I don't think this card needed nerfs. I think I pretty much agree with that. What many other people have said on this card. I don't think this one needed nerfs. it wasn't really the problem. Free energy deploy 3 guys, which are like really squishy, is perfectly fine. It's when you get the Green Horde on 4 and you're able to deploy 8 guys, which aren't nearly as squishy, and you're able to buff them all up in the next turn and deal a whole bunch of damage. That's when it's a problem. If they're squishy and they don't really do that much and they just get in the way, more of a nuisance, it's fine. So yeah, they can revert that now. And it's a real shame because they released Ghost Order Beast Snaggers and there's had to be several nerfs. I think Orcs are probably going to be fine now and not going to be oppressive. Green Horde is still good though, so you know, still be careful. Don't forget about it. Yeah, overall, pretty good. Good necessary Orc nerfs like the Runt Herd and the Green Horde, but other things have got hit along the way which I don't agree with. And that's kind of like the same update as well. When they nerfed, there were some things which just needed nerfs, like proper killy. It was way too good for what it was doing. But also other things just didn't need nerfs, like they could totally revert. Where is it? Grizzled Scar Boy. Absolute problem. So yeah. Hello, really like your channel. Followers for some time. Just more. Please. Ah. Yep. You know, how do I not know how to mute my Discord? I do apologize. I mean, I could get rid of it, but you know what? I don't need it up. I'll get rid of it. And that should stop it, right? I do apologize for the Discord. Yeah, I can see how that's annoying. Nope, it's still popping up. Darn. How do I bloody mute it? Let's go to here. Settings. I'm an idiot. You're great. I don't want to log out. Voice and videos. Chat. One post the link. Can someone in so-and-so explain to me how I mute my Discord? Because I am stupid. And I haven't done that before. Maybe do not disturb helps. Do not disturb. Voice, video, chat, notifications. Is there some? Is it here? Chat. I would have thought it would have been here. Enable ads and links previews emoji with the stickers no. Autocomplete text box threads. No. Probably voice and video, right? Mic test. If you get out of the settings, then click on your profile. Click on your profile, it says online, click on it and oh dear. Hold on, I'm just gonna switch to probably the game here. So just don't show off this to the entire world. Bottom left. Ah, right. Online. Do not disturb. And that should turn it off. Okay. Thank you very much. I can't pronounce your name. Jurica? Thank you, Jurica. I do appreciate it. Let's go back to here. There we go. Thank you, Jurica. I appreciate the help. Right. Now on to Ultramarines. And as I say... Oh, no worries, no worries. Like, something like that, I'm always appreciative of the help. I'm always appreciative of the help. So thank you, Jurica. You did a great job. Onto the Ultramarines. As I say, don't be surprised if they get new cards in like a month's time for some random reason, and then in 2 months' time they get nerfed to the ground. Don't be surprised about this. It's probably going to happen. It just seems to be what has happening recently in this game. It isn't the funnest thing in the world, particularly when they release new cards that you can't get your hands on, and but only some people do if you spend a whole bunch of money on it, which means that now they have a distinct advantage over you and all that stuff, and like you end up falling behind. It's not fun in that sense. And I do mean a whole bunch of money. Yeah. What I will say though is that this balance update to the Ultramarines, I think, was a good thing on the whole. If they keep it maybe as it is, maybe some minor nerfs here and there. Particularly there's one particular unit which I think is doing a bit too much for its value. No hints at all. But outside of that, I think probably majority of the things here are actually perfectly fine. And I appreciate the changes. Because it was needed, because Ultramarines were absolutely struggling. They were either the weakest or the second weakest faction in the game. And yeah, they weren't doing great. They weren't doing great at all. They were very weak. There was a lot of problems. There were like just certain things the Ultramarines card collection just couldn't achieve, which was sometimes dealing with certain stuff, and there's still things where they can't achieve. One of them is dealing with a decent wide board, which has a whole bunch of free life units. If you can do that, I don't think there's a decent Ultramarine ward which can actually deal with that properly. Most of the time they try and kill you before, to be frankly honest, they try and kill you before you're able to get to that stage. But let's go over some of these changes. Mine is Calgar. He's one of the weaker warlords before this update, and he got a buff, rightfully so, I'd say. He got Codex Yord, gains 1 armor this turn. Now that is locked to his actual talent itself, so it's not like a Codex ability on him. There we go. So you actually have to use his talent, which I think is a good thing. Because if it was just Codex, gain 1 armor this turn, I think he would be pretty oppressive. But at the same time, I think, unfortunately, it doesn't achieve what they wanted to achieve with him. Not really. The problem is, it says this turn, and I think what they wanted to achieve with him, if I'm not mistaken, is not to make him an aggro warlord, but to actually make him more of a control-based warlord or mid-range. Probably mid-range, I'd say. But he's got 40 HP, he's got 2 attacks, and the card draw is nice. So you're able to play into that long game, you're able to get the right options, the right cards at the right time to deal with the specific threat that you're facing. And then the idea is eventually you get into a board state where you're able to defeat your opponent with it. That's what I thought they were trying to do with Calgar. This doesn't really change that. Giving 1 armor during his turn just means that what you mostly do is that you just punch face, and then you take 1 damage, but they take 2. So if you're able to keep on using his talent to gain more cards, so you're ahead in that sense, and they're able to keep on trading life, so you're ahead in that sense, it doesn't really achieve what I think they wanted to happen. I'd hoped that he would have a passive Codex Heal 1. To be honest, I think Codex Heal 1 would be too strong for 2 reasons. First off, over moment, you can give this to any unit. So if he had that passive, he would just constantly be healing. But you could certainly see Sawoxi's on his talent heal 1 instead. And I think that would have been actually a very good change. That would have, I think, more achieved what they were trying to do. So he's not an aggro warlord. He's trying to gain extra life so he can sort of just stay alive. And he can sort of use that instead of just going, oh, I've got 1 armor this turn, which means that I need to utilize this armor. Well, how do I utilize this armor? Well, I punch face, so I take they might do more damage than I take. So suddenly, I could certainly see it on just this talent alone. Maybe even heal 2, but that might be a bit much actually, considering he's a 40 HP warlord. But yeah, I mean, like, this does make him better, and he's decent now, I'd say. What is your opinion on this really bad balancing overhaul? Got feeling like it will always be something overpowered. Should they try to balance existing factions? And then when they introduce new content, balance towards existing balance, then just fine-tune it. 2 months ago, last 2 months from Orc expansion, game feels more and more money grabby and really, yeah. I mean, and it's what I'm warning people about. That was what you're talking about, Jurica, is exactly right. It's what I was warning people about, that don't be surprised if they end up releasing Ultramarines, new card collection for Ultramarines in a month's time, and now suddenly Ultramarines are the new meta for another month, and then they nerf them to ground, and 1 month later, so they're absolutely unplayable, and they just repeat the cycle again and again and again and again. Don't be surprised if this happens. Now, since Ultramarines, in my opinion, were so bad beforehand, I don't think they are oppressive quite as yet. There's still some cards which might be too much, and I'll talk about those cards. But yeah, I mean, like, don't be surprised if that happens. We've got probably like 1 month of Ultramarines being fine. Well, not fine, but eh. More fun to play. Enjoy this month, I guess. Because I don't be surprised if it gets worse. But I think they've done something good here, you see. And I do appreciate it. So, where were we? Master of the Fleet. Right. Okay, Uriel Ventress. Now, this guy did have like an 18% win rate in Legendary Division. And I can see why, actually. There was 2 main problems for that. First off, well, how Uriel plays is going aggro. And then, well, last month, well, Orcs were better. Just blatantly. There's Orcs. There we are. Orcs were blatantly better with Gazgol go wide build with the, well, spamming too many boards, buffing them up, and killing you in a single turn. They do that very, very quickly. Uriel was trying to go aggro, but then isn't as good as the Orcs as the Orcs at aggro. So it doesn't really work, in short. So this guy absolutely did need some kind of buff. Uriel Ventress dealing 1 damage to all enemies. There we go. But I don't think this was the right buff. What I would have done is what they actually did in the past, where he started with an extra card. And I think that probably would have been good enough. Now, I think Uriel Ventress might be the most powerful warlord. And it might not even be close. I'm yet to test, like, Titus and stuff like that, yet. I don't know if he's, like, actually a lot better. Or still roughly the same, trying to do the same thing. I mean, he's going to be better, it's just by how much. Uriel's Ventress ability is kind of crazy, though. Because it's 1 energy, just deal 3 damage. That's good value. And that's a lot of pressure as well. And it makes his ability so flexible with other things. with just triggering codex effects, particularly with stratagems, because stratagems with codex effects only want to trigger it once, so you can only trigger it once. So getting it right first time is important, and so hence those stratagems like Devastator Doctrine, Angels of Death, there we go, we'll get into that buff later on, were just makes it so much easier to trigger those now with Uriel's ability. The only one downside is with Tactical Insight. It doesn't synergize well, basically. You have to trigger Uriel's, like, most of the time when you use Tactical Insight, you want to be going, for example, Firstborn or 3E, you play the Firstborn, your Tactical Insight, and then you use Hero Power afterwards, so you're not wasting cards, where you can't use Hero Power and trigger Tactical Codex ability again with Tactical Insight, because it's not a 2 energy ability. But don't worry about that. Just use everything on curve and you should be fine, and you've got more support for doing the right things now as well. For example, Death from Above, you got the Devastator Doctrine, which really synergizes as well with Uriel, and then you got Angels of Death as well. Like, there's all sorts. So he might be too strong now. Just him. We're gonna play some games and have some fun for sure, and we probably gonna test it out. Of course, I've done a video on him, and he got me, as I say, 3k in one day sort of thing, which is a bit crazy. But yeah, he's a good. He might be S tier, don't know. Might be too strong. Primaris Chaplain. This guy could have actually used the buff. The thing is that, I mean, if out of all the cards in the game, this has like been one of the most changed cards, flat out. Just one of the cards which have been changed the most. Just this Primaris Chaplain. He's all been trying to buff the board and stuff, which I appreciate. It's been focused around that, but he's always been like, he used to be a 4/3 with 5 life, but then he didn't buff himself. He buffed only other troops, and then they made him a 3/3 with 5 life, but he buffed himself as well. And then they changed him to have less attack characteristics. And then, no, I don't think so. I think they removed the health, and now they've just increased his attack characteristics as well. He's gone all over the place. He really has. What I will say about Primaris Chaplain, he's decent now. In my opinion, he's got the increased melee, the attack. He's not a bad option. He's not brilliant. He's a 5/5 for 4 life. I don't think those are terrible stats. He also buffs all the other things along with it, so he's a decent job. He's a bit of a pain to pay, to try and trade into. But if, for example, he still dies to Outrider, which is a very efficient way to kill the Primaris Chaplain, unlike, for example, an Honor Guard, which is not going to die to Outrider. Well, not innately. So I think he's finally probably a decent card, and in the right decks he will do well. And he don't feel like you're taking him just able to support the deck. He's like, he stands on his own 2 feet now, but I don't think he's oppressive at all. This is one of the good changes, in my opinion. A minor buff to a card. Now, Angels of Death. I will say, Angels of Death was a terrible card before. Terrible. And there's only been one change to it, and now it's really bloody good. What it used to do before was, of course, deploy 3 guys and give them flank. The reason why it was terrible before, if the opponent had 1 armor, you would only do 3 damage, because all the damage would get reduced by 1, so they would attack individually, and then it only does 3 damage until 6. Even if it was dealing 6 damage, well, they probably have a 6 drop, and most 6 drops are able to do 3 damage innately. You got Inceptor Sergeant, Lieutenant Calcius, that's 4 damage innately. You have to shoot a speeder, have to shoot its range attack because it's got flying. Guess what? 5 damage innately. Attacking the Ancient, he has 6 attack. All sorts, right? Angels of Death does that terribly, so you have to trade all your pieces into it, and that's the best case scenario. It wasn't good before, because just spending 6 energy to deal 6 damage isn't worthwhile. Now it's changed. Because of the Codex. It gives everything, all Primaris Intercessors +1/+1. Not not just the ones that's deployed, which is huge, by the way, because things can deploy out of this, more Primus Intercessors, and this can actually buff the stuff which is already on the field. So this Primus Impulsor has really good synergy with Angels of Death, because you can have extra guys with this, and then Angels of Death just goes along and buffs them. It's kind of... Angels of Death is a really bloody good card now, because you're actually able to do 6 damage with 2 of your guys, and now you're left with a 3/3 with 3 life, and it's very flexible. So in theory, if you need to, you can do 9 damage. Now it still has a weakness to armor, which is a good thing, because heck, if it didn't have a weakness to armor, this would be a very problematic card. So things like Blade Guard Sergeant, I guess, will reduce that damage and will not die as easily. I mean, he will still die to it, it's the funny thing. But that's Blade Guard Sergeant being bad, by the way. But for example, one card which is actually half decent is... No, that's Blade Guard Lieutenant. Sorry, Blade Guard Sergeant is actually a decent card. That's the 5 energy drop. And if someone plays that, well, it's only still going to do 3 damage to the guy, because he'll have 1 extra armor, bringing him to 2 armor. He's still going to be alive with 2 life afterwards, after the opponent plays Angels of Death. So this guy is still a... You know, it still has a weakness to armor, which is only a good thing, and I very much appreciate that. Is it a bloody good card? Don't get me wrong, it absolutely is. It's going to be one of the staples inside an Ultramarine deck. And yeah, it might receive a nerf. The question is, what do you do to actually nerf it without just making it bad again? Because you could nerf it, you could remove the codex again, but then it's bad again and no one's going to play it. So I don't know what the in-between point is. It's hard to say. You could make it only range attack, for example, or only melee attack. If you make it only melee attack, it means that, I guess if Lavarius buffs up later, but that's more like a nerf to Lavarius, really. So it doesn't really work. It doesn't... I guess they're easier to kill afterwards. So if there's still one guy left, and if you remove like the melee attack, for example, they become easier just to shoot with afterwards, or melee attack afterwards. You end up taking less damage back afterwards, which is probably the change they probably need to make. That's... I think it is a little bit too powerful what it's doing, so probably just range attack. Slightly overtuned, I think, the 6 energy drop is. However, it isn't the worst offender, in my opinion, actually. We got on to 2 other changes, and I'll skip through these very quickly, but Redemptor Dreadnought Pulse Executioner. Redemptor Dreadnought was bad before, and is still bad now. It's only has 6 melee attack, is 8/8, it's for 8 energy stats. It doesn't really do much, it doesn't really clear the board, it doesn't really do what its purpose is. It's not a good drop. It's bad. It's weak. Having 1 extra melee attack is nice on this guy. It's not useless. It doesn't really change fundamentally what it's trying to achieve. I think BJ made a video recently where they changed what this guy actually did. And it used to... It was like Rally deal 1 damage and then Codex deal 1 damage. And it meant that on a turn, it guaranteed did 2 damage to across the board on the turn energy 8. Or if you want to play at turn energy 9 with a Tactical Insight play, we actually did 3 damage across the board, which makes it relevant. If you Tactical Insight this guy and you do 3 damage across the board, well, you can't. Actually, guys, as it stands right now, can't guarantee it. Problem is that there's only a lot of targets which only take 2 damage, and then you don't actually clear the board. And then you have this kind of weak statted Dreadnought, which can quite easily die to 3 guys because it doesn't have armor. So... yeah, it's not good, and it still hasn't received a buff, which makes it any relevancy in being good. Repulsor Executioner, it's an alright unit for a 10 drop, because dealing 8 damage to a troop means that it can actually kill something big, and maybe that could be 9 damage now, as the game has just got more armored units and whatnot, just to compensate for it, so it actually kills like relevant targets. But outside of that, I don't think it really needed a buff. If it's just without it, because if you buff it in other ways, you'd probably make it oppressive or whatever. This one melee attack doesn't really change it, in my opinion. Maybe it could go to 8 melee attack and still be perfectly fine. Oh, I do apologize. Yeah, I'm not really... Nah, it doesn't... In the decks that you see this, you're still gonna see this. In the decks that you don't see this, you're not gonna see it. It changes nothing. Primus and Scepter. Right. This is the guy which I... Oh no. Primus and Scepter and then Scepter Sergeant. So I'm gonna go over in Scepter. This guy didn't need a buff, and he got one. He was already a good unit. It was a 2/3 4 life, flying flank, absolutely brilliant. Like keywords, I guess, and the free range attack meant that it could just deal with threats as it came in on flank. It had 4 life, so it typically lived as well. It was a good unit. Codex gaining 1 range attack this turn. It's not the biggest buff in the world, but it wasn't necessary. Like, it's, don't get me wrong, it's... I understand what they're trying to do in granting more Codex units. There's a separate point on that, with not every single unit having to be a Codex unit, but they're trying to grant more Codex units to probably try and get this Avenging Zeal play off more, which I still think is only usable in 1 Warlord personally, but hey ho. Primus and Scepter, it just didn't need a buff. It was just alright as it is. In terms of nerfs, maybe this guy can go down to 1 melee attack now, because it's got this Codex ability, if they want to keep the Codex around, or just remove the Codex, because to be frankly honest, it's perfectly fine as it was. Yeah. I don't know what really more to say about this. Yeah, it's not overly problematic. It's not like overly too powerful or something, in my opinion. It's not like game changing or game breaking. It's not that in that sense. However, it still didn't need a buff. Now, in Scepter Sergeant, there's some things I want to say about this guy, and how I think this is a very problematic, well, not very overtuned unit, certainly. There's a lot of things which is going on with this guy. Now, where he was before as a 4, 5, or 6 life was bad. He didn't do the job that you needed him to do, basically, which was actually deal with a 6 health unit on the board, on the turn that he came on board. The only other thing was Angels of Death, which didn't even deal 6 damage all the time when it used, how it used to be. Of course, that has been changed now. Scepter Sergeant was like a necessary evil in all of my old decks, because there was nothing which... Here's the problem. On 4 energy, if you wanted to remove a troop, your best shot was aimed Death from Above, and how it used to work. I must have skipped this card. We'll go over it, but basically it couldn't deal with actually a 5 HP unit, which means that he couldn't deal with most 4 energy units in the game, which meant that you had to attack with it to kill a 4 energy unit most of the time, which meant that you fall behind, the opponent goes ahead. That was the 4 energy. Now, in terms of removing things in your 5 energy, well, basically you have your Death from Inspired Retribution, which you kind of don't want to use on a 5 energy. You kind of want to use it on a 7 energy or above, because otherwise you're going to start falling behind yourself with hard removal and stuff. But that was your only removal piece at 5 energy. So if you didn't run Death from Above, which you probably shouldn't because it's bad, well, was bad, we'll get to it. If you didn't run Inspired Retribution, well, you're kind of left in a place where, what do you take at 6 energy? Because you need to run some sort of removal at some point, otherwise you will lose the game. Unless you go like extreme aggro, which Ultramarines could not do. So, well, what did you do? Well, at 6 energy, you have this one unit called Scepter Sergeant, which has 5 range attack. And that didn't do the job, but it could at least remove like some 5 energy units. It could remove the 4 energy units, right? Maybe if you're able to buff it up, whatever, with like Lavarius or something, it could do an alright job. Not saying it's an amazing job, but it's alright. So this guy did need a buff because of just the fundamental problem. You didn't have removal at 5, you didn't have removal at 4, and if you didn't run the Inceptor Sergeant at 6, you didn't have removal at 6 either, but then your removal at 6 is not great anyway. You kind of see the problem here. That being said though, this is way too much. If it was just give +1 range attack to this troop, he would still be absurdly strong. Because he would basically, what it would say is basically 4 energy, 6 range attack, 6 life, and as a tactical insight play on 7, you have 7 range attack. That it'd still be absurdly strong as it was, because he now has really amazing stats and actually is able to deal 6 damage on a 6 energy range attack. 6 range attack on a turn it comes in. There we go. Still be absolutely amazing for that purpose. But the fact that it gives it as a board-wide buffing piece, like Primaris Chaplain as well, I think is way too much as a 6 energy drop. Like, you can go Angels of Death, get 3 guys. Let's say it isn't much on the board. Maybe you lose one of the guys with your Warlord. So you've got 2 3/3s left. You then play this next turn. Use Tactical Insight. And able to give everything +2 range attack. And you get a 7 range attack fire. That's not right. Because if he doesn't die, then they have to deal with this 7 range attack fire with 4 melee attack. So, personally, this is way too strong as it is. However, it does need 6 range attack somehow. Because otherwise it doesn't do the job that it's actually meant to be doing. For a 6 energy card, and I think is just kind of necessary. So what I would have done is maybe made it Codex, give +1 range attack to your troops this turn, if you really wanted it being a board buffing beast. Otherwise I would have just made it Codex, gain +1 range attack this turn, or something like that. If you want to be a board buffing piece, maybe make it 3 melee attack, and then give it +1 range attack to your troops this turn. I don't think the range attack buff can really last, or it can't be board wide. It's far too much for what it's doing, and it's a really bloody good card. So yeah, it's your six energy cost section for Ultramarines suddenly came from wanting to run as little as possible in 6 energy to running, oh, we've got 4 mandatory cards that I've got to play in every single Ultramarine deck with double Inceptor Sergeant and double Angels of Death. Like, if in doubt, just do that, and I think you're gonna be fine, to be honest. We'll go from Death from Above later. Now, Honor Guard. I don't know why Honor Guard got to change. And to be honest with you, it is a change. It's not a buff. -1 range attack is a big deal because you can now actually just, well, kill it with range attack. Particularly if the enemy Warlord has to shoot at this guy. Taking 3 damage instead of 4 damage is a big deal. But then he gives armor 1 to adjacent units, which he didn't used to have. Don't get me wrong, this is far more interesting. And it's far more exciting to me. So I'm glad they did the change, because it makes it more, it's not just as simple as, ah yes, I've got this 4/4 5 health Vanguard unit which just exists. He does some extra things around it. Overall though, you didn't need a change, and I think they could have looked at some other cards, namely Primaris Judicia, and done something about that card if they wanted to buff a Vanguard troop. That's my personal take on this. However, I don't think we're, like, I'm not complaining about it, because at least it's more interesting and isn't just as simple and, like easy, I guess, as a unit. There's actually, like, a bit of nuance to the card, right? So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Finally, Death from Above. Dealing 4 damage and then Codex dealing 1 additional damage. what I think about this change, kind of like what I kind of said before with the 6 energy drops, and the fact that you don't have removal at 4 and then you don't have removal at 5 because you kind of want to save your inspired retributions. This was a must change. What I like about this, it doesn't really particularly, like, what the main impressive thing in the past, certainly, because there was this time when it just did flat out 5 damage. And I get why, because it was, the idea is if you used it earlier on, it could actually kill a troop for its value. Then they decreased it to 4, and the reason why is, if you manage to get 2 of these on 8 energy, where you could just able to do 10 damage to face and like nuke the opponent out of nowhere, all of a sudden, which they just weren't ready or prepared for. Which I think overall, that is a good change, that they didn't want to do that, and I get why they had to make that nerf in the past. But now, with the Codex deal 1 additional damage, that happens, first off, the maximum lethal range is only 9 instead of 10. And that's if they're able to make Codex trigger, which they might not be able to. So it's still nowhere near as oppressive in that sort of sense. Because at the end of the day, you are still using 2 cards from your hand to able to just get some burst damage in. But it does make it nicer when it comes to using it early in the game. In the fact that it does deal 5 damage to a target and actually able to remove it, which is a troop, whatever. So that actually means that it does its job properly, which I appreciate. Overall, that is what I think about the Ultramarines. I think this update was necessary. Certainly with the 6 energy drops, because my golly, there's some 6 energy drops which are bad. However, I think even though this was a good change over Ultramarines, there's definitely still some things they missed. One of the things which I think they kind of missed is I wanted to see a buffed Ultramarines but a nerf to Assault Doctrine. You're still seeing 2 copies of Assault Doctrine in pretty much any Ultramarine deck. It runs in aggro, which I actually think it probably in principle shouldn't be running in aggro, because it's just an 8 energy card. It's probably too expensive to aggro. But it is ran in an aggro deck because it's too good. So I think that could have used just a minor nerf, so it only gives like +3 melee attack. And particularly with Ultramarines now, I think that would be completely fine. And I don't think that would... It'd still be a very good card, that's the thing. You're still gaining that 1 armor, you're still healing 3, and you're still able to just punch face. You're still doing 5 damage with your Warlord to the opponent's face, you're just not doing 6. Hey, how you doing? We're just going over the balance update, talking about Ultramarines literally right now. And we're talking about... I've just gone into the part where I think what they kind of missed with the Ultramarines update. One of the things is the Assault Doctrine. I think it's still too strong, and I don't think it needs a well, I think it does need a minor nerf, so you don't just see it in every single Ultramarine deck, which I think you still kind of do, to be honest. That's one of the things for Ultramarines. Another thing is suddenly when I look at the 5 energy section for Ultramarines, I see like a whole bunch of trash. Primus Justicia, potentially Blade Guard Sergeant. This guy was alright as an anti-aggro tool, but outside of that, he's not great. Apothecary Elixis, and maybe Aggressor Sergeant, although Aggressor Sergeant is beefy stats, in all fairness. Yeah, they just kind of like particularly the Primus Justicia. This guy's so bad. There's some cards here which they just needed to give buffs to. And like, I think Salt Centurion is actually bad for an 8 energy drop. I think it needs like 8 life. Maybe decrease range attack, but give it 8 life or something like that. Like, there's a lot we can say. A lot of changes. I think overall the Ultramarine changes are good, but they did miss some points in the fact that, and I think some things, as I say, like the Inceptor Sergeant is too strong, and I think potentially Uriel's ability, talent, even though I kind of like it, that he doesn't run Tactical Insight, and I don't think his Tactical Insight's the best build for Uriel, which means that Sun decks aren't running Tactical Insight anymore, which is kind of cool. I still think the change that I would have gone for is make this 2 energy and have him start with an extra card, because I think that's still kind of a bit too good. Trying to do my weekly weekly cruelty mission done. Yeah, I can see that, bud. With the, what is it, Inceptor, Sergeant, Incept, and Inceptor getting buffed with all the flying guys. Yeah, that I can be a struggle. Might want to play some, don't mean to be mean, but I might want to play some tutorial missions, and then just, I don't know, play a different faction afterwards. No, you can still play Emperor's Children. Emperor's Children are still decent, but, like, just get the cruelty done, and then, yeah, play, get some other things done. Rafa, how you doing, bud? Yeah, as I was saying, Ultramarines, there were some absolutely necessary changes here, but I also think they've just a couple of cards have gone too far, and a couple of cards which kind of needed nerfs, like Assault Doctrine, because it was always too good for what it was doing. It's just that all the other cards were bad. Yeah, I can imagine. I'm, of course, enjoying it, don't get me wrong. I've been enjoying the Ultramarines very much recently. It's nice to actually play a faction which is, fun. Shall I put it? You know, fun, right? Yeah. We'll get into a few games in just a moment, but we'll talk about Tyranids. I think these are all good changes. Some quite scary ones. So Terror of Vardengast, he needed some kind of buff, because, I mean, Terror of Vardengast is weird. It almost feels like he doesn't quite synergize the faction. I get what they're trying to go for with Alpha Warrior. He gains +1 melee, gains +2 attack, and +1 for every single friendly troop. I think the whole point is not to put down a whole bunch of Ripper Swarms and then use his talent, by the way. I don't think that's the point of what he's trying to do. I think what he's more trying to do is go with some stealth units, and then he can use his talent to gain some additional melee attack. And I think that's the point of him, but I think it just doesn't synergize well enough. And that's the problem. Like, if I was going to change what he does, I would give, like, only 1 melee attack at base, maybe, but make it a 1 energy ability. But still, having Slay heal 1, I'm not complaining about that. That's not the biggest deal in the world, and in fact, it kind of isn't the biggest buff for him, because he's trying to kill things that he's not attacking, doesn't want to be attacking. He wants to be going face. He's an aggro guy. And if he actually has to kill something, because it's the only way he can get rid of it, and he has to kill it, having Slay heal 1 is perfectly alright, in my opinion. So, it's sort of a counter-intuitive incentive, but in those situations where you have to do it, Terror of Vardengast, at least you get a heal 1. It's not the worst. Yeah. High Command on Warlord, 2-1. Yeah, really scary, because I've gone against this where they have Synapse, and he's just a 1 energy. Oh, everything gets +1/+1 and +1 life. So he's kind of serves a different purpose now. He's kind of like a different Warlord, which is what they were always trying to go for, I guess. Is actually just not make him an aggro Warlord. But in all honesty, if they wanted to do that, I would increase his health to 40. I would change his stats to 2-2. And then make his talent, I guess, a 2 energy ability. And the reason why is, if that's what they want to achieve with him, giving him 3-1 stats just incentivizes aggro. It really does. 3-1 stats means that you want to be utilizing the 3 melee attack. So you go 3 damage. If you attack them, they take 3 damage, you only take 2. But the opponent goes along and says, well, if I want to be keeping up with Warlord, I have to do a range attack against him. So he ends up taking 2 damage, and I only take 1. Otherwise, I'm going to fall behind. And the Swarmer goes, well, I have to attack him, because otherwise I'm going to fall behind. The end result is, you're both always attacking each other, which ends up resulting in an aggro game. So, if they want to make him more of a hive commander, like, sort of ability, that's, like, what he's actually trying to do. I get it, it's cool having this 3-1 stat line, but that encourages melee aggro matchups. That's what it does. That's what it incentivizes. It incentivizes. Which, well, I mean, like, if they want to make him more aggro Warlord, go ahead. Keep it as it is. Otherwise, you're still trying to incentivize that, which means that his 1 energy ability kind of just means that it's just a better support tool for stealth units, which is weird. It's kind of, it's one of those things, it's a painful decision to kind of do, because you're trying to keep the identity of this guy, but they kind of need to decide what his identity is going to be, and then go with that. Isn't Turbo Tarnagar's talent supposed to be to pick off troops? No, I don't think so. I see it as an aggro piece. Like, don't get me wrong, you could use it to pick off troops and kill troops, but I see it as additional damage to face. I see it as what it's meant to kind of be. This is in my head. What it's meant to be is that you have some stealth troops. Let's say you've got, where's the Gene Stealers? Got some Gene Stealers. Let's say you've got 2 Gene Stealers. You've got two stealth troops. You're able to use your 2 energy ability. You now gain +4 melee attack, which gives you 6 melee attack, and then you're just able to go face. So that's a lot of damage, and then you attack with your 2 stealth troops. Well, you've done 12 damage in your turn, and you've only used 2 energy. Granted, to get to that stage, you probably get 7 energy, but even still, that's pretty darn good lethal range. And it could be worse with Rippers if you deploy them sort of sudden. So yeah, I see Alpha Warrior as an aggro tool. I think it's funny that not even a Tile Warlord can get 1 free stats. They really seem wary of doing that, as opposed to 3-1 thing. Yeah, I mean, I understand. It's, I guess, maybe slightly because it's flying, and they're trying to think, well, if it's not have a 3-1, it's got to have some sort of weakness, right? With the 3-1 stats, I don't know. It would be cool to have a 1 free stats on a Tile Warlord. Don't get me wrong. Maybe Shadow Sun. I would say Shadow Sun, because it's like, it's meant to be, she's meant to be the Markerlight Warlord, right? That's how I kind of see it. Markerlight the opponent's face. And you're able to actually use that to shoot stuff, but it will incentivize her just to become an aggro Warlord. I think whenever you have that disparity of 3-1, regardless of what it is, it's always going to encourage an aggro playstyle. Just because, like, you always want to trade with them, but then they always want to trade with you, so it's weird. No. Hey, BJ, how you doing? I've just read your message, sorry. No, I didn't boost it. I'm just, I don't know. Standing nearer the microphone. I haven't messed around with it yet. I'm just like, just want to go through the update. I've had a bit of a busy day doing all sorts of things. But yes. Swarmlord's talent. I don't know, man. I think it's a good change. Because for the playstyle that they're trying to... And I think they're trying to achieve. But I think they might just have to bite the bullet with that guy and just make some drastic changes to the Swarmlord. So he actually ends up playing a playstyle which they want to do. Which I think is Big Bug Guy. Where you have all the big bugs with synapses and stuff. And I think that's what they're trying to do. And make Terra Van... Like, they could make Terra Varnagast have the 3-1 stats. Particularly the guy has flying as well. Yeah, they could so make this guy the 3-1 instead. And then they can give Swarmlords 40 health back. Probably increases thingy to 2 energy. Or something. But yeah, like... I think that would just be so good for identities. And then you have this guy's aggro, which I say 3-1 stats encourages aggro. And then this guy is actually more of a bug warlord where you get big bugs. Or monsters, even. Anyway. Next up is the Neuro Tyrant, decreasing its life. My golly, that guy can be a problem and a pain. Particularly I can't believe it has 8 life. But they did increase the ability of it as well, making the ability more relevant. What I'm fearful of is when this guy goes, when you play Ethereal Stratagem, create a 1-cost Ethereal copy in your hand. You play this, right? You play it for 7 energy. Your next turn, if it lives, which is quite likely because it's a flying 6 range attack with 7 life, so it's a decent chance of living. It lives next turn, and then you play High Feet for Leviathan, and then you're able to play a second version of it. That is my nightmare. Because now his entire deck, he's just not only drawn 2 cards, but his entire deck now costs 2 less. What? Oh dear. Anyway. Hello, Ben. First stream I've caught, Jacob. What do you think of the campaign changes? Oh, like the premium campaign. Primarily the starter decks being locked behind premium. Yeah, it sucks. It completely sucks, I think. I don't know if they've, things, I think these have, you get more additional starting cards with 4 commons every single time you lock the initial things. I swear that was a change. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Bin. Which I think is a good thing, because then you're able to build up your collection more. But I do think, just for new players, just giving them that starting deck is probably just a good thing. And I wouldn't... I'm ashamed that that's locked behind premium to actually able to unlock that. Like, I've got some of the campaigns. So the campaigns I do have is the Ultramarines, the Eldar, and the Chaos. Those are my 3 premium campaigns. Everything else as not premium campaigns. Even though I've got a full collection of Tile, I don't have premium campaign. That's fine by me. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame with that. Hello, I've been blessed. How are you doing? Turns out they still give out the starter board for free. Yes. And the nodes give more cards, so they can still build up a playable deck without too much time. It just requires a bit more investment. I think that's my problem with it, you see. They can still build up a deck, which I'm unhappy about. And I'm glad, thank you for confirming that, by the way, that it can do that. I just think, just for newer players, you kind of, thing is, you don't want to, like, as a new player, you don't want to have to go, oh, I have to spend, like, maybe a day or 2 building up the collection, then I can play the game, right? As a newer player, I kind of just want to get into the game. So it's maybe outside of the tutorial stuff, and they can collect more things during the tutorial. You kind of want to just give an initial collection they're able to make the game playable with against opponents online in draft mode or unranked or ranked, whatever. Right, not draft mode. I think that's just better, because now they can just get into the game, they can try and do what they can, then they can work through the campaign a little bit more, try and get these different cards, and then supplement them in and test them out and see how it goes, right? I understand they get more stuff as they complete the campaign, but I think it's, weirdly enough, it is better just to give them an initial boost. Because if you lock it behind premium, just actually getting an initial deck, it's kind of like, how to put this? Like, it's a new player just getting into the game. You just have to, well, yeah, you literally have to spend some money so you can just start just straight up playing it. So I don't think it's good for new players. It's good for players who want to put the time in, because you might be feeling more rewarded for it. But it does mean that you can't just test every single faction as it is. Like, I can't, as a new player, you can't just go, oh, I want to see how orcs play, and I test it, and then I decide I don't like orcs anymore. You can't do that without spending 20 quid every single time, and then you feel like you're locked behind orcs, and then you discover Necrons, and now they're really, really cool, but then you have to go along and buy the premium campaign for them, and then, but then you able to end up playing the faction that you like, right? Which is Necrons. But it's, you know, that would make me annoyed if I discovered that. If I discovered I was playing orcs, I didn't really like orcs, then I encountered Necrons in the game just by playing a bit of orcs. I discovered they were doing some really cool things that I really liked, and then I discover, well, I feel like I've just wasted 20 quid on orcs. I don't really want to play orcs. I want to play Necrons, because it turns out the faction I always wanted to play. I think it sucks for the new player. They can't just go, oh, I'll test this faction. Oh, I don't like the orcs. Let me test this Necron faction. Oh, I really like these guys. And then you can go and get a premium campaign to end up unlocking the full collection, you see. So that's how I'd put it. I think it's not a good change. I'd rather they just initially do so and so. Anyway, yep, draft mode will be free daily is the best way for free-to-play players. I do agree with that. Your empty campaign trees are giving me issues. Fair. I mean, like, I'm slow in collecting these campaigns. You know, I don't have a particular interest in playing Necrons, never had a particular interest in playing Orcs, but, you know, I've been doing it, getting my Tyranids up. I have no interest of playing GSC, and I'm just collecting the Emperor's Children. I'm a bit slow on this stuff. I don't really do the missions that often. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But, yeah. Uriel deck is so fun to play. I'm glad. Still missing some 2 epic copies, but it's doing great while with little swaps. I'm good to hear. Good to hear, blessed. I appreciate that. Where were we? Well, Hive Tyrant, he got 2 changes. This change was irrelevant, in my opinion. Increasing his stats didn't change anything. Increasing his synapse, his talent ability, though, was absolutely brilliant. I totally agree with that. And the reason why is because if you get to a stage where you have a 7 energy drop... Oh, wait, I don't have all the cards, do I? You have a 7 energy drop, you play it, which does nothing to impact the board as it is straight away, and it somehow lives the entire turn, and you're still alive, you should probably get some sort of reward for it. And I feel like decreasing the cost of this is an appropriate reward. Yes, it's a big threat, but it means that if you can't kill the opponent, you actually have to deal with this. You can't just ignore it, right? So I think this is good. Thank you very much. It was, I guess, my objective to be the Ultramarine player. Certainly in the past, I won't lie, I sort of waned over time because the Ultramarines got a bit weaker. But now that Ultramarines are back, I'm more than happy to be playing Ultramarines. Sorry for drooling the stream then. If you have one thing to say about Swarmlord... If I have one thing to say about Swarmlord, it doesn't really make much sense that it's a 35 HP, considering that is lore-wise. Right, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and that's why it, hold on, let me get rid of Ultramarines. That's why people didn't like it. Certainly. Having it as a 35 HP Warlord, just, it doesn't make sense lore-wise, I don't think. Yeah. But it was a necessary change, because this guy was over several months having around about a 63% win rate. And it was slowly but surely going up. And that was probably because more people who were playing Swarmlord was unlocking the level 20 Forge card, which meant that their faction, their Swarmlord, just became even more stronger. So they did need to do something. And they were trying to nerf the Swarmlord with, like, nerfing Neuraloid and stuff, without nerfing the Swarmlord. So even though I totally agree that this guy being a 40 HP would be way better, the problem is that this guy also is not fun and oppressive. So I would have done something different. I would have changed the melee stats, probably, because make it a 2-2, because its stats encourages aggro. It forces the opponent to actually get any advantage over the Warlord to shoot the Warlord. And the Swarmlord feels like, well, it has any advantage the other way around, it has to attack the enemy Warlord. It has a confused identity, I think. With the talent somewhat trying to make big things, but then him having his stats wanting to go face, basically. So it's strange, it's confused, and it doesn't know what to do. Which is weird, considering. But yes, it's a good change to Swarmlord overall. We'll just go through the other changes quickly, because I do want to get on with playing some games if I can. Sniper Imperative, Hive Tyrant Talent, yep, we already talked about. Termagant Brood, making it 2-3, yeah, good change. Very quickly on this guy. Where's Termagant Brood? 3 melee attack, 5 range, 5 life. Average stats, in my opinion. having it decrease stats just made it bad as a tempo drop. I know it has really good combinations with where you're able to get a whole bunch of solo things with Overwhelming Swarm, and then every time you do it, you get like a whole bunch of damage off. It's a cool combination, don't get me wrong. However, it can't be absolutely useless outside of that, and now this gives it more play, basically, which I appreciate. It's fair. Morris feels like they could have maybe tweaked the actual effect on the active ability, sort of leading more into a gym boss style gameplay rather than troops buffing on top of good aggro. Yeah, that's the other thing as well. They could have just made the ability different, sort of like this give melee attack to yourself with healing ability. Yeah, as you say, gym boss. That would be interesting. And then it would support the 3-1 with 40 life, and it just doesn't mean that he's not going for what he's, because what he did before basically was stealth troops. Use this to get more stealth troops, synapse units, good synapse units during the warrior, stealth them, put the gene stealer back into stealth, you know, buff them all up, attack face, and kill the opponent, right? That's what he did. And he used sometimes the free immediate attack to deal with early game troops, but outside of that, he used it mostly just to punch you in the face. That was the purpose of what Swarmlord was trying to achieve. Now it can't do that as much because the early game troops actually will hurt him because he only has 35 HP, and it's actually relevant, and that's why the change was necessary. I think the reason why they didn't want to do that bin was because Terror of Vardengast exists, and its purpose was to be more like what you're trying to talk about. I say more like, I see this more as aggro than gym boss, but Terror of Vardengast is trying to do that sort of style. And that's why I say give Terror of Vardengast 3-1 stats, particularly as he has the ability to gain flying. Then you can go to Swarmlord, make it a 2-2, but put it up to 40 HP and make it more of a buffing piece. And I think that would work well with Tyranids. Because right now, they're sort of, it feels like they're somewhat taking each other's identities and not really getting anywhere. I know the idea is sometimes you can play many warlords and you can use them in many styles, which I don't overly like. I don't disagree with, but sometimes you just have to. Some warlords have to be better at some things than others. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So that's, I think, what I would have done with Swarmlord and Terror of Vardengast. I wonder what's his name. There's he does a bit of YouTube. His Shimatsu, I think. I wonder what Shimatsu thinks about these. Thinks about that in general. It would be nice to get his opinion for certain. Overall, everyone, that's what I think of the balance update. I think they've done some good things. Maybe Ultramarines are slightly overtuned, but I don't think they're massively oppressive. They probably are the strongest faction in the game now. I don't know. Sisters are decent. Emperor's Children may be decent. Orcs are still pretty good, though. That's the thing. Like, go wide Orcs, and the thing is that Ultramarines don't often have many ways of dealing with go wide, in my opinion, so meh. Oh, Chaos is solid. Maybe the strongest faction, but it might be just because they're the new hotness, you know? Anyway, I think it's about time we probably get to playing some games. This is my Varatigris deck. This is actually... I did a video on this a while back. It was this deck. I don't think I've changed a single thing about it. The only thing I've done with this plus version is I've taken out Inspired Retribution, which is the hard removal, and put in Gather the Company. And the reason why is I reckon I've been testing it, but Inceptor Sergeant can do a good enough job, let's put it like that, at removing things. So having the extra card draw plus the extra codex triggers as well you get from Gather the Company is really quite nice. And the only reason why extra card draw is nice is because you want more things to buff with Avenging Zeal if you can. So when I get a few copies of this, I wonder where I am in top Ultramarines. Yeah. Ah, darn. Where is... Nope. Here we are. Ah! We need to claim our title back. Hold on. I'm going to show off a couple of games of this, and then we'll show off probably Gym Boss Titus. Oh no, we can't be playing against bots. But yeah, this is a very solid deck. It's a combo deck where you're trying to get Avenging Zeal off ideally as early as possible. Ah. Okay, this is interesting. Problem is I don't have a Storm Raven. Huh. Might be a problem. I think we're going to need High Factory, because we're probably going to have to get some of these guys out as quickly as possible. So we can actually deal with a Scarab board. I don't know. This might be the one weakness of the deck, because I don't have a Storm Raven.
What is yet to come is for us to decide.
Time is my weapon. Your pitiful mortality will be your ruin.
Okay, so he hasn't done anything. This deck, you don't want to go aggro initially. You kind of want to wait for combo. I will just draw a card here. Oh, lo and behold, we have Avenging Zeal. So if he gets Scarabs out early, we could be in a spot of bother.
You will be judged.
Okay. No, the only thing which can remove that guy is...
Shot by shot, we will
Never mind.
purge the galaxy.
Hello, 30. I'm so glad to hear that, by the way. Yeah, getting to legend... Is this first time getting to legendary, or... Have you got legendary multiple times before? It's always nice when you get to legendary.
And honor!
It's always nice.
Time is fleeting until I say otherwise.
So he's not going for Scarabs. He's going for more of a thingy build, which is... I say it's good for me. I think we're gonna need to go for this. Let's go for this. Let's go for that.
One strike is all I need.
Let's remove that remnant. We don't want to deal with it. I hit legendary yesterday just goofing around with my Calgar deck. Yeah, Ultramarines are good now, so... I find it funny that the Scarab deck was stood and the test of time, and if memory serves, it never's been tweaked or anything. Oh my god, this guy's doing a lot of problems actually. Yep, definitely based. I cannot complain otherwise. I need to use this Outrider here. Yeah, I think that's my plan. I use this and that. Yep, this is what I wanted. Shoot that guy. And then we're able to punch here. Excuse me. Yeah, Scarabs. there was a nerf when it accidentally received a buff. And there was a buff, what was it? There was a buff which gave everything +2 melee attack on the board. And then people started playing Scarabs. And then they made it not do +2 melee attack. But that's technically the only time, and I think what they were trying to achieve with that wasn't giving Scarabs. The idea was, I think they were trying to get other things to actually be good, you know? Darn, this guy feels like he's got just all the legendaries. He's got this legendary, he had 5 inch He's just played legendary after legendary. Oh dear. Right, what we need is to hit this guy once. So we need to increase the odds of that. No, there's no anti-armor. So I'm gonna place you here. Nice, we got him. That's good enough. We can work with this. And then we need to remove that because we do not want to be dealing with it. No. Broken, yep, definitely base. Thank goodness Uriel's back to deal with scarabs. Yep. One benefit of Uriel potentially being overpowered. He can deal with scarabs well, so.
None can stand against us.
Oh yeah, you have a completely fair point. Harken World Claimer. Like, he could so use one melee attack back, and I don't think a single person would complain. Like, no, not back, just gain. Like, for example, his ability, gives him, his 2 energy ability gives him +1 melee for that turn. I think would be perfectly fine. Yeah. Now, there's nothing with melee here. Hold on, I need to think about this. Might have to actually use my brain.
Chosen with care.
As terrifying as it is. What do I want to do? I can get Avenging Zeal off with you. I think, yeah. So I think what I want to do is I want to do this.
Form up and advance.
Generator's Shield. Tactical Insight. And we can see what we can kill. Probably give the shield to you. Got some solid damage in. We'll have to do it now. Get rid of that guy. We don't want its existence. And you coming back doesn't sound like a great idea. So, there we are. Potentially, yeah. Potentially you could get flying for that turn as well. I don't think that would be... It would utilize his melee attack better as well. So, I don't think I'm overly complaining about that. Oh no, he's going to reanimate that guy. He's going to get multiple of them. That sounds horrible. Oh dear. Yep, he's now healing. Oh, he's going to bring one of these guys. Oh, I've lost this. I've so lost this, haven't I? Oh, he's got... And he's got a Resurrection Orb in his hand as well. Even if I could clear the board, even if I had a Will of Gork, I could only remove 1 remnant. And he's just Resurrection Orbs, and he'll be fine. I don't think I can win this. How do I... Hey, I think Ultramarines are fine, guys. Did I say the Ultramarines are overpowered?
With care.
Flippin' heck.
There's no hiding from Ultramar's wrath.
Ouch. That's Tactical Insight. I guess we move him. I guess we draw a card. There should be one more. Yeah, there's Humanity Shield. No, I've got 3 guys. That's not... It could be worse. Could be worse. Run. Yep. I'm glad I didn't... I'm glad I didn't meddle. I didn't Mandil affect myself into thinking he used to have flying. This is lethal? Yeah, he's got lethal. I think... Sorry, I do apologize, but I think he used to have flying. It's so weird watching Harken light up. Yep. NS2, I think they need give... Wait, who's... So +1 range and snipe. Oh, do you mean, that's just so right. Hold on. You're talking about, 30. Instead of, like, Slay, you're talking about the GS... You're talking about GSC Warlord, right? But then you're talking about... Laska. Well, I always say Sonari. I always say the second name. But Laska, I guess. You're talking about Laska. Give +1 range snipe and slay trigger random friendly troop ambush. I'm so with you on that. Here's the thing. Like, having sabotage, sabotage is so toxic. But there's no support for ambush. I would so love an ambush support. And I think he would be all... Would it be alright? No, I think he'd be fine. Snipe encourages you to actually target troops, not the enemy warlord, so he's not an aggro warlord in that sense. It gets +1 range attacks, so you're actually able to deal with early game troops. Probably perfectly fine for 2 energy. You know, if in doubt, then you can use that ability just to clear board and not even trigger ambush. It's not going to be the worst ability in the world, but then you're going to see these ambush effects and you get multiple triggers potentially of ambush. I'm totally with you on that, actually. Totally. Like, I'm sorry, but sabotage is such a toxic effect. It's either too good and the opponent can't play the game, or it's too weak and it doesn't do much. And it's probably very difficult to get the in-between, right? The only way you can get an in-between is if the opponents actually have ways of removing sabotage or like decreasing the cost of stratagems in hand. And there's only one guy, in theory, which can actually do that. That's Commissar Denkler, and the reason why Commissar Denkler is because of Lord Melandrosk. That's like literally the only way I think which exists of decreasing the cost of stratagems. Outside of that, you're totally right. I would love to see that change. There is sore spot for me. I was so hyped to buy her, and then they gutted her to unplayable. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say it's not unplayable. I mean, like, part of the problem is definitely Primus Safriana is just way better. Even a sabotage build, if you're going for a sabotage build, I think you're better off with Primus Safriana. So, yeah. Anyway, that's enough GSC, because I go on rants otherwise. Uriel is super strong now. Uber strong now. Yep. His 1A synergy is brilliant with everything. Also, the 2 snipe guy with... great with Uriel's ability. How did I not think of that? I know exactly what you're talking about. Sergeant Talion. Thank you, Nathan. How did I not think of that? Of course it's brilliant with his ability. You only trigger it once, unlike with Varo Tigurius, but he's got to go in the deck now. I mean, a guy's camouflage, he's got 6 range attack, he's got snipe, he's got 6 life. Like, he's a big, sort of a big boy when he comes into play. How did I not see... Oh my god, how did I not see that? I'm kind of feel stupid now. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Gosh, that's good. What change for scenario would that change for scenario would be good? Makes more sense for snipe to like picking someone off with snipe to begin an ambush attack. Yep, 100%. Oh my god, like who snipes and then like chucks a sabotage into the opponent's supplies? Like, what are you doing there? No, yeah, begin an ambush, 100%. And it. Yeah, more go out of it. I think that, as I say, I need to shut up. I was wondering why you hadn't put Talion in your Uriel. Yeah, I just didn't think about it. I just like completely skipped over it. I mean, I was trying tactical insights and stuff. Yeah, right. So is this is the deck, which is my Uriel deck. Probably gonna have to. Do we remove an Invicta War suit? I'd like to keep it. Honor Guard, Death from Above, Storm Ravens. No, I don't think they're going. Or maybe a Storm Raven. Could remove a Storm Raven. Yeah. Could remove a Scout. I do like how there's when I see a curve, I do like it to actually curve. You see an actual curve. But how would wait? No, that's not going. Storm Raven potentially, because we do have two Devastator Doctrines, so we might be all right. So we're kind of losing. We might be losing a bit of aggro with the Storm Raven. That's the only thing. Yeah, the curve could be worse. Could be worse. Maybe. I think I'll have to test that at some point when I put it back to how it was. Italian, but we might just remove Invicta Warsuit. It kind of depends on what I think is best. Where is Storm Raven? I mean, I could remove Inspired Retribution instead, but I think the only problem is I'm not running Eradicators. So if something does have armor, I kind of need to do something about it. Anyway, I was wondering, but would Italian added will make can't read. But would Italian add will make change because you don't play for Avenging Zeal like Varro. This is true. And I don't have tactical insights either like Varro, where unlike my Varro deck. The main benefits you would see here is something like Chaplain. Well, no, we're not running Chaplain. Kind of an point here. It is good synergy, that's the thing. I mean, I am running Inceptor Sergeant. I guess if I went with double Impulsor, and then went Talion, and then went Inceptor Sergeant, I would have to not go Angel's Death. It's a weird thing doing that, but that is an option I do have. And Invicta Tactical Warsuit versus Impulsor are very similar, so I'm not going to be complaining too much about that. Honor Guard is probably the best. I don't really want a Chaplain. Problem is, the going Chaplain into Impulsor isn't great. Kind of want to go Chaplain into a unit he can actually buff, like Talion, for example. It does get a bit crazy, so no, I don't think I'll be changing all that. Land Speeder, no. Doesn't have Codex. So yeah, it's only really Eradicator, and we're not running Eradicators because we've got Death from Buffs and Storm Ravens. So yeah, it's just Inceptor. Maybe there's a different deck for Uriel where you go for that. You can always go Stone Guard Sergeant as well. That's the thing. You do have... How many free energy drops? The reason why that's important... Yeah, we're not running Tactical Insight, though. The reason why that would be important is because if you were running Tactical Insight, having enough free energy drops for Talion means that you can actually trigger Codex multiple times, and that's when it gets really good. With Euro, it's okay, because his ability being one squeeze in... Well, yep. It's just, yeah, I've just never considered Sergeant Talion at all, just a part of the picture. Where he's decent is when you get a Scepter Sergeant, and then you can get 2 triggers of Scepter Sergeant, making this guy like 8 range attack. I don't know, there's potentially a different deck here, where you go more troop-based. But I kind of like the Death from Above on Uriel, so... Keep it as it is, and we'll see from there. With Calcius, but hard to expect to survive in this full flank environment. Yeah, that's the problem. Calcius would be a brilliant buff. We could go double Calcius at that point. And then I've got things I can always keep the scouts as well. I've got Talion quite likes working with scouts, so more accurate as well. It's just Calcius. It's difficult to keep a Talion, but I think so long as you play Talion on 5, or if you high factory him on 4, the opponent doesn't have a 6 energy play, quite often you can get away with it. I think he lives a turn, because he's got 6 HP, there's quite a bit, he's got camouflage, so he can't be shot down. Like, if you look at all the flankers, well, Ultrins don't get a flanker until 6 energy. Orcs flankers You kind of do. Well, no, you do. You've got Squig Hog Boys, you've got Boomdacker, Snares, Wagons, and Doubt. Like, they've got things, but they particularly where they get good is Rocket Truck, Screw Buggy, and Veteran Stormboy. So you do. They have to have so and so, otherwise it doesn't work. Eldar. They have to get stones for this though, and he doesn't just kill it innately. And then you're getting into Crimson Hunter and something else, so... Well, Eldar flank faction, aren't they, so... Necrons... They're weird. They've got the 4NG flanker, which can just do it, I guess, but then also not. Strange. Chaos. Eldritch Strike. But that's at 5 energy, so that's like kind of my point. It achieves that. Hold on, I do apologize. Tyranids, they can give things flank. Hive Grown is the best thing they got. Tyranids aren't doing that great, to be honest. Tal. Well, the main thing is dynamic offensive or not, and then it's whatever they get out dynamic offensive, but they're definitely gonna have their 6 drop all the time, so. Meh. I mean, against Ultramarines, you can get away with, so long as you get Talion on 5/High Factorium on 4, then you can get quite comfortably away with it, because they can't really get a proper flanker to be able to deal with Talion without committing too much. And if they're committing too much to deal with the guy, then you're in a pretty good spot. But otherwise, they're not getting many other flankers. Or, you know, you wait until the very late game and you get to 11 energy. Because Uriel does that all the time. And you end up getting Talion, Lieutenant Calcius, play it all on that turn combo, obviously. But yes, let's go play some games of Vara Tigris and not lose this time, hopefully. I wonder how they will make Blood Angels different compared to HHL in this when they eventually add it, since I feel their modifier relative they're the same besides the Black Rage. Yeah, they are. Oh, do I remove Tactical Insight here just because I only have 5 stratagems? I think we do this change. Right, that's right. High Factory. I do wonder. You do have a point. I don't know how they exactly do it, but I guess they could lean into the Black Rage a bit more, quite literally, and have mechanics which are purely just the Black Rage, and whatever. I don't know. Because if I'm not mistaken, in HHL, they literally don't have the Black Rage until much later on. And that's why Black Rage, they only have 1 card, which literally gives guys the Black Rage, and it's meant to be the moment when Sanguinius dies. It gives them Berserk, and what's it, +2 melee, +2 attack? Not melee attack, melee attack doesn't exist in this. What do I want to do here? Chaplain.
Trust in the Emperor at the hour
Giving
of
himself
battle.
camouflage. This is a... No, it's not. Oh yeah, I swear I turned him off. Huh. I mean, I can't def him above him, because I don't have it, but yes. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Certainly be interesting. I think they'll have to lean into it. They'll have to lean into the Sanguinary Guard sort of thing. They'll have to lean into their unique characters as well, that they're Dante, you know, Mephiston. They'll have to lead into the Sanguinor a little bit as well. They can do things like that. And I think that will work. Now, having Chaplain here, what did he do? He did that. That's what he did. We'll do this then. We'll either get another Tactical Insight, which would be brilliant, or we'll get so-and-so. So-and-so. It's not a troop, but spawned them. You're absolutely right. Chaos's most powerful flank tribe is not a troop, but it is spawned them. Granted, there was it. Chaos Space Marine and Possessed Champion are still decent troops. And yeah, they can do the job in killing Talion. Yeah, I suspect he will. Problem is that I removed, this is the downside of me, what I've done here, is that I've removed, so-and-so from my deck. Hard removal. Well, I was testing if I could get away with a Gather the Company instead of hard removal, and I probably have learnt that I can't.
Each path must be chosen with care.
I need to get Avenging Zeal off. I have to hit this guy. I kind of think I want to get Avenging Zeal off. So I get Outrider. I think I'm going to have to risk it. No, that's not good. I was hoping I didn't get a vehicle. There. Got a lot of guys is the thing. If I draw a card here, I ought to be on 10 cards, which is... might be alright, actually. Probably I don't have a 2 energy drop. No, I can't. I'm gonna do this then.
Positions. We strike soon.
Doesn't matter what. Nice. Should have shot with everything first, actually. That'd be good. Right, I'm gonna see how this Norm comes out. If it comes out this turn, or if it comes out the next turn. If it comes out this turn, we're dead. I suspect. We can have an Eradicator. Okay. Once he gets out Norn next turn, what happens? Can I kill it if I Avenging Zeal? That's what I'm wondering. If I Avenging Zeal now, can I kill it?
Each path must be chosen with care.
Eradicator does 3 damage. Outrider will be on... what is he? He's going to be on 5, 6. He's going to deal 5 damage. So 3 at 5 is 8. Warlord can't kill it. So, kind of want to get double Eradicator off. And then Humanity Shield. We just go for it and we just go Humanity Shield next turn anyway. I think there's too much of a buff here. We're head on life, so we're right. Yep, that's what I talked about earlier. If you're able to get double high fleet off, it can be super scary. And a big problem. Huh. I want to draw Tactical Insight. And I have to Humanity Shield then if I do. Do I have to? Hold on, wait. Can I just kill him? I should be able to, right? I've gone out. I have to use Outrider. Or Imprimus and Scepter. That works. Yeah, that works really well. I can get 6 range attack. Yeah, that kills it.
Chosen with care.
We play Imprimus Chaplain.
Trust in the Emperor at the hour of battle.
There we go. Stratagems. Ah, yes. Hello, BJ. How are you doing? So I'm running 5 stratagem deck. What I've done, I don't know if you remember, I did a video a while back where I had I did a Vara Tigris. It was this build. I had double Tactical Insight, Humanity Shield, because I felt like it was necessary to stay alive. I had Inspired Retribution, because sometimes there are big things, particularly against this guy, when he was playing a lot of things. That was the new hype then. So I had to have a Spider Retribution, and then the final card I had was, of course, Avenging Zeal itself. I've done a test now where I've got rid of the Inspired Retribution and put in Gather the Company instead. The reason why I've done that is because of the new Inceptor Sergeants being able to actually deal with board and stuff like that.
There's no hiding from Ultramar's wrath.
So yeah, I did see what was its name, Targil. I saw he was trying to do a free stratagem test, going tactical insight, double tactical insight, and avenging zeal. To be honest with you, if I was going to do that, I wouldn't use 3. I'd go for 4 stratagem. Oh dear, he's got flank. Anyway, I'll go for 4 stratagem, and what I'll do is I'll go double tactical insight. I would go for gather the company, and then what's it called? Avenging zeal. And the reason why is the gather the company gives you redundancy in card draw. And still able to trigger stratagems with it. It's not as if you're losing out because of that. So, I can just play you and play you. That will kill it. I'll have this guy. That'll be alright. He's kind of ran out of steam afterwards, I imagine. Yep, let's do this.
We bring the fires of retribution. Burn them down.
And now we have a tactical insight. I've been running Gather, and I've been finding it very useful. Yeah, that's what I'm testing. It's what I've been getting rid of Inspired Retribution for Gather. I think it's very useful because then you end up getting just more cards buffed by the Avenging Zeal card. It just gives you another option. And I don't particularly find I'm getting Avenging Zeal any earlier. I mean, I haven't tested it, but I wouldn't imagine you get Avenging Zeal any earlier, particularly. So, yeah, that's why I haven't done it. More Tactical Insight and Zeal. Yeah, so Tactical Insight and Zeal, yeah, absolutely essential. I don't disagree on that. Hold on, I'm just thinking with my big brain. Yeah, I think I want to do this. Don't think we need to use tact this turn. For me, it's whether you run a 8-drop or maybe Angels of Death. Oh, the Assault Doctrine. Yeah, I kind of see that. It does mean that you get to a 8 attack Varo Tigerius with 1 armor, which is nice. Angels, I don't think it's necessary. You got Inceptor Sergeants. Like, they are really good. They are really good. In short, they do the job that you need it to. You don't need that many blank on 6E. And you're going to run 2 copies, so there's you just run Inceptor Sergeants. I don't know I don't know what more to say about that. Hold on, there is a so-and-so. So if we do this, I probably should have used, oh well. This here, Tactical Insight. And we should have him. Yeah, the card is really, really bloody good, but I think specifically in this deck, you don't need it, is the thing, because of Inceptor Sergeant.
What is yet to come is for us to decide.
At once, Dark Angels, redden your blades. Draw your blade. You might yet find absolution in battle.
I foresaw this encounter.
Caliban's rage echoes through me.
For the Emperor and the Primarch.
Your temerity only makes you caught with disaster. Your temerity only makes you caught with disaster.
Taking risks is sometimes a necessity.
Your temerity only makes you caught with disaster.
They'll be dead before they see me coming.
Sorry about that.
Fight, sons of the lion, fight!
Basically, my little sister came up and I was like, hello, how you doing? And I had to mute for a moment there.
And be slaughtered.
Okay, I'm gonna test 4 guaranteed 8 drops into Zeal with the potential every turn is too good win con to pass. Potentially, I find how to put this. What do I've got humanity shield, that's fine. We can do this, we can do this.
Fires of retribution. Burn them down.
Kill that guy to get him a smite. I would have to need so and so. I'd need a really good high roll. I think I will draw a stratagem anyway.
Makes you caught with disaster.
Elder guns.
Your temerity only makes you caught with disaster.
I think I'll shoot him and then we'll end it there. I'm gonna mute this guy because he's done too much. Yes, best of luck, PJ. I quite like Gather Company because I think I like the extra option, because I find that sometimes you can run out of cards, and I like the extra option of drawing more codexes with it, be able to get Avenging Zeal down. And so hence I think it fills a very nice niche as well, in the fact that Avenging Zeal, ideally you use it when you have as many cards in your hand as possible. So I quite like that. Oh, it's gone for healing. Okay. That's fine by me. I think. Now, do we use you and you? Do we use you? What can you use? You can use so-and-so to get rid of it. Huh.
Each path must be chosen.
No,
with
actually,
care.
do we use you? Because we take a 66% chance, and if he stays alive, that's not the worst. Yeah, we use you and you.
One strike is all I need.
Well, I took the risk.
I alone judge the weak from the strong, the truth from falsehood.
Now this is interesting. Problem is, I can't get the actual damage in on him without doing that and that first. I would like to keep you alive, but maybe it's just as worthwhile doing that. It might be. Because we always can go
Each path
Outrider
must be
and
chosen
then
with care.
gather the company next turn, which will be perfectly fine. So I think what we do is we do this.
Ready your jump packs? We strike.
We blind you. You're gonna buff the board. I can range attack here. Gotta take some damage, but you can get with that guy and you can still pile a bit of damage on. You can't get so-and-so yet because he didn't go for... Oh no, my own thingy's getting in the way. No, Ezekiel's don't go... No, he hasn't gone for anything else, so we're alright. Surprised he didn't go for extra energy. You might not have it. I find if you're playing Asriel, that's really works really quite well.
No mercy! Engage and eliminate!
Yeah. Ooh, that's Talion. I want to run Gather the Company so Avenging Zeal gets as many buffs as possible. Yeah, I think we're doing this.
With all due haste!
Let's go Avenging... Yeah, we're gonna go for this guy.
Shot by shot, we will purge the galaxy.
Buff. That kills it, yep.
We must be eternally vigilant.
Target priority assessment. Others await our retribution.
There we go. Let's get rid of the chaplains. Both chaplains? No, just keep one. Get rid of the other one. That's pretty good. That's a good curve out.
What is yet to come?
Good flank
is for
options
us
as
to
well.
decide.
Nothing can compare to the judgment of the Emperor.
Oh, that's completely changed the game, right. Oh my god, if we can get a chaplain and Sergeant Talion off, that can be absolutely absurd. You have to get a bit lucky with that though, not gonna lie. Okay, we just top decked Avenging Zeal, as you do. Yeah, I think it's pretty well known, right? Just top deck Avenging Zeal, no problems. I think we just shoot this guy, and I think I will be getting that out, Talion. And just trying to cheat out something.
The
That's
chapter's
fine.
engines will not falter under my watch.
This Talion is absurd. Talion,
Strike at their weakness to prevail.
tactical insight. Now, I can get free shots. I think I will do this then. Save the Outrider.
And the Primarch.
Get the card draw going. Draw a card. And this is what I think is particularly nice. The Gather the Company. So that now we got this next turn where we can draw 3 cards, play something else, and then we can buff the entire hand up. And it just means that we got multiple guys all with the Avenging Zeal buff. So I think it's worth it, to be honest.
For the Emperor and the Primarch. We ride for the lion!
And still like Stratagem 2 in my deck. Right. Yeah, we still have Humanity Shield. I think there's a Tactical Insight and a so-and-so.
Trust in the Emperor at the hour of battle.
We have all these cards which have been buffed up. It's huge.
No one can outrun our retribution.
The lion's sons endure. I will see to it.
Let's play this.
One
Play you
strike
as well.
is all I need.
You can just shoot him as it is right now. That's fine. Tactical Insight. Done. That's quite a bit of healing.
We are the hunters! We are the Dark Angels!
Excuse me. You can take that out. What I'm left with is on our guard, which isn't too great. So I think I'll play you.
Ready your jump
Melee
packs?
attack.
We strike now.
No more stratagems, so we're just gonna smite him. No way. You're really running? I guess with all the... Right, I guess he really doesn't like Ultramarines. That's fair. That's fair. Honor guard this.
For courage and honor!
Okay, I did not do that. I placed it on the left-hand side. That's frustrating. You can take out this guy now. At least you're getting the bonus. Not sure, Stratagem, we don't need it. 1 damage again? That ain't good. Yep, you.
Take them down.
You. I think I will go Humanity Shield just to ensure that I don't die. And I have. That was a bit of a hard-fought game, to be honest. Avenging Zeal, nice. Keep all of that. Wonder if this could be BJ. Nah.
What is yet to come is for us to decide. May Ultramar stand in the times to be.
I'll hold back a bit of it. He seems to be willing to go aggro. He's probably going for a more aggro version of Vara Tigurius, but we'll see.
I await your instructions.
He's got that, okay. I don't want to use you here. What do? I do want to just remove it. Instead of using Tactical Insight and having to do all the things with High Factory. Yeah, alright, we'll just use him.
With all due
Remove it.
haste. None shall stand in our way.
I can smite it. I can use Octavius Infiltrator. Yes.
Hold positions. We strike soon.
And I still have my Outrider around.
None shall stand in our way.
Draw stratagem, smite. I guess, yeah, smite. Hoping for the big 3. Got 2. So I can gather the company from this. What can I do? What am I thinking?
Each path must be chosen with care.
I'm definitely thinking so and so. No, because I can't use these guys to kill it. So when I have to, I reckon Intercessor Sergeant? Yeah, Intercessor Sergeant. I'd say so, yeah. Let's go Intercessor Sergeant, generate a shield. Just need something to be able to get the kill, you see. I don't particularly want to take 4 damage back. You see, this is where you run out of cards, and this is where just being able to draw 3 more additional cards in that mid-game can be really crucial.
There's no hiding from Ultramar's wrath.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it was gonna go for smite. Guess the 2 as well. Means I can't actually deal with the impulsor. Huh. If I was left alive, Intercessor Sergeant, I would have gone High Factory Sergeant Talion,
Each
but now I'm
path
not.
must be chosen with care.
I think I'll probably do that next turn. Because you're not going to get a kill, that's the problem. That's what I don't like about this. That attack there only does 3 damage, yeah. Don't like that at all.
For courage and honor!
But I think this is the best play.
Knowledge is my blade, wisdom my bullet.
In a moment. Right now, Sergeant Gadriel.
Take them down!
Nice. Draw another card. Be able to move him. It's going for Assault Doctrine. I knew it was going for a weird deck. I'm gonna have to go Humanity Shield here. We don't really have a choice. Draw card. I mean, I could just go Manage your Shield, Avenging Zeal. It's not the best. That's the problem. Can't trigger Codex like this. Darn. Oh, that sucks. Like, can, but it's this and I die next turn. Most likely I do. I guess what I do is I do this. I think I'm gonna have to risk it.
For courage and honor!
But I think I'm dead next turn. The fact that you had to think about it for more than a minute kind of suggests I might not be. I still say might. I could be.
They'll be dead before they
I'm guessing that's the only flank troop he has. He can always smite me, that's the thing.
Shot by shot, we will purge the galaxy. Make the engines roar! It's time to scour this battlefield.
Yeah, right, okay. That's what I would want to do. There is no stratagems left in my deck. Pretty sure I use all my tactical insights. Humanity shield here.
Each path must be chosen with care.
Yeah, I think so. What I'm looking for, I guess, at this point, is to go for try and get a Sergeant Talion play. I do have one copy of what's his name? Calcius. That's the play we're looking for. That will be a 10-y play, so we don't really have time. No, it's because it's 11-y. What am I talking about? Don't have tactical insight to trigger it earlier. Humanity shield here. Don't think there was one.
There's no hiding from Ultramar's wrath.
I don't know. I wasn't really seeing a way out. Well, even if I could, it would only do 1 damage a time, so it's not gonna work now. There's no way I win this, except for maybe an Eradicator play, that's it. That would work way better. Not going to work. Oh well, we do what we can.
Strike at their weakness to prevail.
Avenging Zeal. Let's blind you.
Hold positions. We strike soon.
Never mind. Smite. Okay, kill that guy.
Whatever. The future is not set. Hope always.
That was frustrating, won't I? Think I should have done a better job. Right, I'll probably finish after this game. Alright, let's bring it on then. I'll probably finish after this game, guys. Really satisfying, win or lose. Yeah, kind of. I think I could have just played better or whatever. Is this alright? This is pretty good. Okay. I just saw the Prime Minister Rihanna. And I was like, final game. Oh wait, I don't want to make this my Darth Vader as well.
What is yet to come?
He's not bad. He's a good player. That's the problem.
Accept our gift of liberation, or face the wrath of the Star Children.
Right. That's decent in the fact that I'm gonna draw a card and I'm just more likely to get Avenging Zeal. So we're both going for combo plays here. His is probably done a trigger before mine, in all honesty, so it's kind of... Can we get to it before so-and-so? So we're going to do this.
Shot by shot, we will purge the galaxy.
I think we're going to have to live through his combo. I suspect that's more likely to be the case. that would actually not have to live through his combo, but if we're able to do some stuff, we might able to get him before he does stuff. Your guy.
And prepare to strike.
I'm not seeing particularly many combos here, outside of oh, he could be going for so and so.
There's no hiding from Ultramar's wrath.
Could be going, when I say going for so and so, he could be going for vehicles. That's it. We'll see. Does he have the 5 energy card? No, summon the cult. Okay.
None can deny the Star Children's deliverance.
Probably have to do all that. Yeah, you're not.
We bring you the Star Children's
I didn't want it to
blessing.
be the mine. That's the thing. So you can die, you can die.
Trust in the
Get rid of
Emperor
that.
at the hour of battle.
We really don't want these things in our hand.
Kindred, at the ready. The plan moves forward.
I'd be surprised if he's going for that combo deck, but what I have, I still have so-and-so in my deck. I don't really have so-and-so. Could go for this. Would that be really that bad? No, it wouldn't. It's a win con as well. I think we go for it, right? We just do that. Claim the win. Is it claim the win? I don't think so. Oh, it is lethal. Well, there we have it. Ultramoon's perfectly balanced. Duh. Well, see you all. Have a good rest of your day. And yeah, I need to get doing with cooking and stuff for dinner and whatnot. Have a good day.